So from there, we go on to the Jamaica Bay Preserve area.
Mm-hmm. Which we've been to before, and
Yeah.
we will not be at again now. This was our last time there.
Yeah. This is the
For
last
the
time
the walks, at
for the
least. We
walks that
will
we'll be there.
probably go back at another time in our lives because it's a really nice place.
Yeah. We had not gone to the section of the preserve between the bridge and the ranger station.
Right.
That section there is a very long stretch of fencing and greenery that feels very much like somewhere in upstate New York or New England and less like somewhere in New York. And most days we walked it back and forth each day. So there was probably 4 or 5 miles each day that was just on this straightaway.
Mm-hmm.
And the sun and the heat were something that was very memorable about that point.
Yeah, there's not a lot of, even though there's a lot of greenery and a lot of trees, for, I guess, based on the time of the day where that is, the sun is kind of up in the sky.
Yeah.
And even if it's not, the trees are on the edges, so it's not the same as, usually there's street trees that are giving you shade.
Mm-hmm.
And buildings,
Mm-hmm.
but there's such a wide space. I think the shadow doesn't really ever cover the walkway.
Yeah. I think this is a good time to talk about weather in general. This week was really an interesting experience with the weather. And I don't think it would have been as interesting had it not been for the last day of this week, which was very cloudy.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a little bit of rain in the AM, and it was something like 79 or 80 degrees.
Yeah, it was pleasant.
Toward the end of the day, the sun came out again, and it got a little more uncomfortable. But the other days of the week, it's really interesting to me to see how starting early in the morning and also not having any experience with temperature change really acclimates the body to what's going on any given day. The temperatures of where the real feel is in excess of 100 degrees,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is my experience, so I don't know. I got used to it. It didn't really feel like a great heartache. I mean, it was uncomfortable, I
Mm-hmm.
guess, but not something that was not possible to handle.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same way. As long as I was more aware to drink a lot of water
Mm-hmm.
on those days, especially if I could feel myself sweating a lot.
Yeah.
But even if I couldn't, even if I wasn't really sweating, I was still trying to drink a lot of water and Gatorade, just knowing that the heat was hitting me.
Yeah.
And I think not pushing myself to move too fast too was important.
Mm.
Not being lethargic, but sort of being a little more in touch with not wanting to push it.
Yeah. I think that it really brought me into greater understanding with why our body sweats. I sweat a lot to begin with. And, they say that the idea that you sweat is in order to cool yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes a lot more sense after spending so much time out in the day because when you're out more in the heat, you realize that there's still wind happening.
Right.
You think about wind under normal circumstances as something that only happens when it's cold. But that's not the case. It is windy all year round.
Sure.
But when you're hot, you don't feel it unless you're completely covered in a veneer of sweat.
Yeah, then the wind feels nice and cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's the experience that I have where you could actually almost get like a shiver despite it being so hot.
Yeah.
Because you are covered in this thin layer of water.
Yeah, it's true. So what's the difference between a wind and a breeze? Because I'm serious because, a breeze feels cool even when you're not sweating. But the wind feels hot if you're not sweating in the summer.
Hmm.
But the wind feels cool if you are sweating in the summer.
Hmm.
What's the deal?
I don't
Do you
know.
know?
The difference between wind and breeze. I mean, it sounds like a semantic difference.
I don't know. We're gonna have to look it up. Maybe we'll have some facts later or another day or something.
So yeah, people talk to me and be like, I can't believe you can go out and do that and be out there. But I think it really helps to get started early in the day
Yeah.
because then you can ramp up along with the weather.
Yes. The day that we started before the sun rose
Yeah.
was especially nice. It was almost cold when we started because it was
Yeah.
dark out.
Yeah.
Then we were really moving along with the sun.
Yeah.
But we were also done right around the hottest part of the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
But even on the days when we start just after sunrise, like you said, it's not as hot in the beginning of the day. So we're sort of
No.
moving and getting our bodies moving and everything's heating up together.
Yeah. And so also we made this purchase several weeks ago of an air conditioner that's portable in order to have it primarily for this room
Yeah.
because we didn't want to have guests or we didn't ourselves want to sweat profusely when the lights are all on. And I'm sure I'm a little bit glistening right now for anybody listening on YouTube or watching on YouTube. But when we did an episode like 6 weeks ago or something, and I was so hot, and there's no way that it was hotter back then. Like
Oh, that's a good point.
I think that
Yeah.
I know now when like it ends up that we bought this air conditioner and it's a nice air conditioner. It's cool that it can roll around, but we come home now and I just don't feel the need for it in the same way as maybe I would have in past years. It feels
Mm.
cooler in the house than it does when we're outside.
Yes, we're also spending our days with the weather.
Yeah.
Right? As opposed to in some sort of air conditioned vessel.
Yeah.
As we would be otherwise.
Yeah.
I've heard that if you don't use an air conditioner, your body just regulates itself.
Yeah. Now, don't get us wrong. We use it for bed. I mean, it's nice.
Yeah, I have a hard time sleeping without it when it's really hot.
Yeah. But yeah, it's pretty cool to see how the body can adapt to these situations.
Yeah. This is a bit of a tangent, but I remember when I was a waitress, these older people would come in sometimes, and on the hottest day of the summer, they'd ask for hot tea.
Mm-hmm.
And I always thought maybe they were confused and they wanted iced tea, but they would insist, no, hot tea is good for the hot day because you have to match your inside temperature to the outside temperature so that you don't feel the heat.
Sure.
I don't know if they were onto something or if they were on something, but it seemed to work for them.
Yeah.
I've never tried it.
Yeah. Well, they were on hot tea.
They were definitely on hot tea, if nothing else.
Yeah.